Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I guess it's afternoon, actually, now. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Rachna. How are you today, this early afternoon?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's good. You're doing good. I'm doing well as well. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe to the channel. Just be part of the crew that talks about reality TV all day, every day. Be one of us. So we're here to talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Now, a lot of people have been saying that this was a boring episode, but I enjoyed this episode. I think it was because there was a party and there was a different scenery. It wasn't the same fight over and over again. It could be boring because there wasn't any actual fights. Okay, so you thought it was boring.
No, I think there was the same fight over and over again.
But it wasn't
Time
like
it's just with the men.
it's a little bit different vibe about the fight.
Yeah. It wasn't a
Like
boring episode. You're right. It was not a boring episode.
I enjoyed it a lot. And it's all based around Margaret's mom, Marge Sr., which I love that she's a Marge Sr. That's so cute.
Yeah.
It's her 75th birthday. And so right in the beginning, we learn about a little bit about Margaret's mom and how she had to flee the country and come to America on Christmas Eve, escaping communism. And the president at the time gave her a doll because it was Christmas. And so I thought, like, when I hear these stories, I don't really conceptualize it as how people move to countries. Like it's so shocking to me still, even though I know it happens to millions and millions of people. So it was really nice to see this side of Margaret and her mom story. You
I
agree?
agree. Yeah, I agree. I just thought she was like some waspy white woman. So it was nice to hear a different narrative, like get to know a little bit more about her. And also that she's quite like connected to her Hungarian roots still.
Absolutely. I do learn more about people. And this is one of the reasons why I enjoy watching these shows is because I love watching people and learning about their lives, understanding what makes them who they are, what their upbringing is like. I find that that is
Mhm.
all fascinating. So knowing that she came from this and that's like her family history, I think is really interesting. And it makes me like Margaret more.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people Margaret is their favorite, and I didn't like this whole thing with Jen, but it made me see her in a different light, and I actually am like, okay, I'm over this hump with Margaret. It could be because she's released this fight that she had with Jen, like that's kind of seemingly in the past now. Jen and Bill are invited to this party, and so maybe her attitude around that situation has made me like her more. But on top of that, I think that we're learning more about her history. I think that is also making me more endeared to her.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't mind her now. So yeah, she's inviting Jennifer and Bill, but she's not inviting Teresa. Now, do you think that she should have invited Teresa?
Um I don't know. That's a good question. Like, I think she did what she had to do for herself to make sure the party stayed, not dramatic, like drama free. And I think that's fine. If she didn't want Teresa there, I don't think she should invite her just because she's on the show together, or they have history, or they have the same friend group. I think that's fine. What about you?
Um, well, I mean, obviously, they're like everybody's quite stubborn on this show, and they know that like it makes it a storyline and all that stuff. Um, and having Louis be there, I could see like not wanting
Excuse me,
bless you,
sorry. Thanks.
not wanting the whole night to be around Louis and Teresa drama. So I can understand that it's for her mom, it's not for Teresa.
Yeah.
It made sense for me not to for her not to be invited, but I maybe it should have been a conversation though, just like not just like a disinvite. Like I don't know. I feel like they should have maybe resolved something and maybe still not have her come, but like had a conversation that was civil, as opposed to just like learning that you're not being invited to something, which is kind of how Teresa found out about it. She heard about the party, and then Dolores comes over to her house, and she's like, did you get an invite? And Dolores is like, yeah. And she's like, okay, so then I'm officially not invited since multiple people have gotten invites. And she doesn't think that she would necessarily go, but like, I think a conversation should have been had considering they're in the same group of friends.
Fair.
So they decide to have a coffee, and Dolores is actually kind of wanting to have a vacation. She sees the pictures of what Louis and Teresa are doing, and she's kind of doesn't have a partner in life right now to do that with. And so she hasn't been on a vacation since before COVID. And I was in Costa Rica the day before lockdown, and I was just like, I want to go back to being away every weekend. I literally in the winter was like, one weekend I'm in Jamaica, one week I'm in Mexico, one weekend I'm in, Costa Rica. And so I do miss that lifestyle that I used to have. I was never really home. How about you? When was your last vacation?
I think it was the summer before COVID or the fall before COVID.
Where'd you go? If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I was in New York visiting family.
Ooh.
And I just remember
New York next month.
I just remember feeling exhausted the whole time I was there.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. And I think I feel really exhausted when I travel. Like now that I look back on the last few trips I've done.
Well, I mean, going to see family is a little bit different than laying on a beach.
Yeah, but even the last time I lay on a beach, I was exhausted.
How come, if you don't mind sharing?
Because I think it was so I went to Mexico, I went to Tulum, and I went alone, and I didn't do an all-inclusive. So, like, I stayed in the town, and you can't just walk to the beach. I mean, you could, but it would take forever. So I was driving from the town to the beach, and then at the time there was only like 1 or 2 openings to actually get to the beach. And so you had to park and then walk to the beach, and then once you were there, I just didn't feel relaxed at any point during my trip.
Oh my gosh.
And then I got really bad food poisoning. And
okay,
yeah,
sorry.
I think at some point I was just I think I was only there for 5 days, but I was you know what? It was right before we started working together, actually. I was just exhausted from deciding what I was going to do every day. I feel like when you travel with somebody, you make those decisions together. And so I just felt like I only have 5 days. How am I going to make the most of it in terms of activities and also places to eat? Yeah. And then on my last day, the day before I flew home, I got food poisoning. And I just remember feeling really relieved that I didn't have to make the most of my last night there because I had food poisoning, so I couldn't.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, it does not sound fun at all. I mean, I was thinking of the last time I traveled alone. I've traveled alone a few times, but I did go to Mexico, but I went to Sayulita. So Sayulita is closer to Puerto Vallarta. So you go to Puerto Vallarta Airport. I took the local bus. I'm on the bus there with my luggage. I traveled in uniform so I could fly for free. And so I went to Puerto Vallarta to Sayulita, and I got an Airbnb, and it ended up being kind of a hostel, but there was actually no one there. So I had a huge hostel room, but it was just me. It was $20 US a night. It was owned by this American kid, and I just went to the Chocobongo, or I can't remember what it's actually called, Choco something, and got a fruit smoothie every morning. And then there's taco stands outside. I went to the beach, and I just made some friends on the beach, and they taught me about aguachile. So I had aguachile with them. And so then I just started hanging out with them. And then my friend came a couple days later. And so then I knew people there now, and then people started coming into the hostel. And so I also met new people there as well. I even met a friend that ended up living in Vancouver and was looking for a place. And at that point, I was looking to sublet my place. So a girl that I met at that hostel from Vancouver ended up subletting my place in Vancouver. So I was able to move back to Toronto. So, I mean, obviously any experience can happen when you're traveling by yourself, but like I definitely had a fun time the last time I traveled in Mexico to Sul.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get you somewhere else where you're gonna have fun, hopefully. Hopefully. So Melissa, we see her with her with Joe. She's sore from baseball. I would be sore if I had to play baseball right now. I used to play baseball or softball when I was younger, and I have a couple like trophies of winning like some sort of tournament or whatnot. But I have not swung a bat in like 35 years.
That's hilarious.
4 years. Have you? No.
I don't
have
think
you
I've
ever?
Well, where I grew up, we played a game called Rounders, which is almost like the bat is made of wood, so it's lighter and it's shorter, and it's played with like a tennis ball rather than, you know, a big softball or a baseball or whatever the ball is called. But it's similar. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the precursor to, it's where baseball originated, I'm pretty sure. And that I haven't done that since I was like 30.
Okay, well, it's at least a little bit recent.
Years,
In the last decade. Oh, 28 years. Okay.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
You were 30.
No, since I think I was 12 when I last played.
I wonder if I should like pick up a new sport. People are always like, "This volleyball." And I'm like, I never liked volleyball, but baseball I was actually good at one point. You know,
well, there's lots of
should I
like
do this?
non-competitive leagues in Toronto.
Do I don't know if I want to commit to that, but like I feel like I should pick up a sport again. I was talking to another podcaster yesterday, and he was saying for his birthday he went and did a like a wind tunnel, like so you do like it's kind of like fake skydiving, and so you just like learn how to like, you know, have the wind underneath you and you can fall down and stuff like that. And he's like, he bought a pass for 10 so he could do like 10 flights and kind of learn how to like run up walls and like tumble and, you know, around. It's like, that's something that I could see maybe being a new hobby. But
that sounds cool.
I should maybe try some sort of exercise, because I would love to tumble like Melissa's daughter, but I can't do that anymore. I don't think. I think
I'm sure you
picking back up. Well, I did used to tumble when I was younger, but I'm too scared now. I'm scared to like do a bridge now. And I'm like, why am I scared to do a bridge? I don't know.
Well, you start somewhere and then you work your way up.
Maybe I'll do adult gymnastics. That would be more up my alley, I think.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Picking up a baseball bat. Seeing Jennifer fall last week, I was like, ugh! Like, I don't want to fall or like I remember, this is really dramatic, but I remember when I was playing, there was a kid that got hit in the face with a bat when someone swung and it came back and it hit him in the face, and like he lost like all of his teeth there, and like it was like, that was traumatic. So I'm scared of having someone hit me with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
So back to baseball. So Melissa, so Tracy Tiki and their I don't know if it's their daughter or not, or if it's from a previous relationship, because it said Tracy's daughter. Do you think it's their daughter?
I think it's their daughter, yeah.
I felt that was confusing because it made it seem like it was her daughter from like another relationship that like.
Well, no, because none of them say like.
I guess it's the daughter of the housewife.
Yeah, or the friend of, like, you know, Gia doesn't say Teresa and Joe's daughter, and like whatever Melissa's daughter's.
Well, I wouldn't say Teresa and Joe, but Melissa's daughter, I guess.
They also say Melissa's.
The housewife. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Jennifer's daughter. Dolores.
So I was just curious though about that, but I guess you're right. They don't. It's just always which housewife they're attached to.
Yeah, and the kid is like 4. They've been together more than 4 years.
Fair. So what I thought was funny though, so Tracy brings up like the fact that like I can't believe that, you know, Teresa like isn't mad at Tiki and is mad at you, Tiki, isn't mad at you, Tiki, for asking Louis about whatever with all the rumors and stuff like that. And Tiki says, "You told me to ask him." I was like, God. So you were meddling, and I think that's probably why she's also very upset with Teresa is because she was meddling and she actually did get caught there.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Hello, DM Rocks. Hi, Teresa selling her home was so sad. You're over that storyline, though, I think, right?
I mean, like, look, I've never lived longer than 3.5 years in any one house. Like, I didn't grow up in a family home. Where I grew up, you couldn't own your house. It's not like, I grew up in like this family home that I've, looking back on, all my childhood memories, like that's not a reality for me. So I think I don't relate to that, which is maybe where I'm coming from. But I feel like there were a little bit more interesting situations in today's, like, where they reveal the actual memories, or they even discuss, the younger daughter even was like, I'm excited for the new place. So I feel like there was some movement in that narrative today. But is it sad? It's an ugly
I got
house.
it. It's a little bit sad. Boom. So Tracy has a tutor for her daughter for kindergarten, which I thought was interesting. The daughter doesn't want to go to, she doesn't want to meet people. She's kind of scared. And I can understand that, like, kids like are so conditioned to being at home with mom and dad, if they have any other siblings. And so the fact that leaving them and having to do something all by themselves, like, it's definitely an adjustment for children. You see tons of kids like crying, kicking and screaming because they don't want to leave mom in the beginning.
Yeah.
Which I think that she might have maybe benefited from doing a little bit of daycare or like some sort of preschool stuff, just to like half day or a couple of hours of being away from mom with other children, maybe to assimilate her to going to school. I think having a tutor is not necessarily helping with the issue of being with other children.
Yeah, it sounds like a socializing issue. And like, I guess they're filming this in the last couple of months. So that kid has spent half her life in a pandemic, basically, or like almost half her life. And so, I mean, I don't know what the lockdown restrictions were like in New Jersey, but I know that a lot of kids in Toronto have barely interacted. So I think, yeah, like a drop in, like a weekly or bi-weekly drop in, or like a play group where she gets to interact with other kids would be way more
And
useful.
mommy's not there for a little bit. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, or even mommy is there so that she knows that she's safe, but still there, I feel like based on the conversation, it sounds like the issue is that she's more of an antisocial being, rather than she doesn't know how to learn or cannot learn in the environment of a kindergarten. Because
exactly. And she's a child, so she can't just necessarily just like jump in and like
yeah,
be like an excellent kid in kindergarten. Like,
yeah,
that's something some kids were. Like, I definitely was one of those kids that, like, my mom would tell me stories. Like, I was very cute when I was a kid, and so people were always wanting to, like, strangers always wanted to hold me and pick me up and stuff like that.
ew.
And like, I just be like, I was like going to strangers, and my mom was like, I thought you didn't like me at all because like you
Oh
you
wow.
never cried and you always went to strangers and you're totally fine with that. So
I mean, you're a
obviously,
super social being, so that makes sense.
true, but I can understand though, like a child not being like that, and it's not being
Yeah,
abnormal. I
yeah,
think that it would be normal for kids to not want to leave mom and be around other kids.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
And so that's what I'm worried about with like my niece and nephew, is that like my brother right now wants to homeschool them, and he's a little bit like, anti-society type stuff, and like doesn't like like what's kind of going on in the world. And so, but I'm like, but like you want them to be normal, like, and like be able to get along with people. They need to still see people. If I know that you hate education system, but like it's they're learning other things other than just the formalized education. They're learning how to be with other people and be in society. And even if you don't want to be in society, it doesn't mean that they don't, eventually want to be in society. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's just me, but I think that it's important to recognize that children do need to be around other people if you want them to be social beings. Just facts. Just facts. Melissa does bring up again about her daughter, kind of still worried about her, worried that she might be depressed, not wanting to get back into cheerleading after her accident and the move. And I do love seeing the pictures of Melissa when she was younger as well, when she kind of rebelled when her father passed away and they moved to Florida. So she's worried that her daughter is going to be going through the same thing. And that's another thing where it's like, see how important your environment is when you're younger. Like the fact that you moved your daughter in the school year when she has all these friend groups, and now she has to come to a new school where she doesn't know anybody. Think about how this 4-year-old is feeling. Like, God, I don't know anybody and I've never been around anybody. If you're also worried about Antonia, who's 16, that is assimilating into a new school. So I like the parallel stories there.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm also like, I just felt like this episode, there's a lot of fake narratives. Like, okay, maybe fake's not the right word, but like, is it really TV worthy that Tracy's child needs a tutor for kindergarten? Like, even the whole story with like Melissa's daughter, like 2 weeks ago she looked depressed and today she seems fine. Like, is that a real narrative or is that just like production reaching because there's not enough footage? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not so invested in these. Like, I'm just trying to think of like what happens on other shows with the kids. Like, oh yeah, on Salt Lake City, like, Marks Brooks, or what is his name? Marks? No, Brooks Marks.
Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks Marks. Like, he gets, apparently Jen Shaw like is homophobically attacking him on Twitter, and then he launches a clothing line, and Lisa's kids are doing some other like product. And
would you love watching Jenny's kids make yogurt?
Jenny which Jen? Oh,
Jenny Nguyen.
Oh no, but those kids are entertaining. I will watch those kids do anything. Especially that daughter. They're funny and also like they're entertaining. Your kid doesn't want to tumble for a couple of weeks. Like, come on, like that's not. I don't know. It just doesn't. When you compare to what's happening on the other Housewives, like Jen Shaw's kids get pulled out by the cops, like brutalized by the cops. Like, come on. Like, that's television. I mean, that's horrible, but that's shocking. You know what I mean? There's nothing shocking in the children's lives. Like, Gia is more interesting, but I don't think the other kids are interesting at all on this Housewives franchise.
Well,
and they're just trying to make them interesting.
Well, the problem that we've both had with this season is that it's too normal. Right? They're not rich enough. They don't have extreme problems enough. And so I appreciate that we're seeing a slice of their life, but their life isn't that interesting. And I think that that's why we're having a little bit of issue with the storylines here, is that like, okay, like, sure, fine. She doesn't tumble. Okay. She doesn't want to go to kindergarten. But yeah, I think that they're reaching because they don't have that much of an interesting life going on.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we hearing more about Melissa's business, like, or something? Why isn't she throwing an event? Yeah, there's just not enough going along, and maybe they're just not that interesting of people.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for me, anyway.
Sorry. So Jackie, we see the scene with Jackie going to get ice cream with her children. And this scene actually got me a little bit teary-eyed because it's just such a simple thing. Mm-hmm. And it was shocking to me that they had never done that before. Like, go and get ice cream and like trying each of those flavors. Like, I never realized that I took that for granted. Like, I remember one thing that my mom used to do all the time, like not every Saturday, but most Saturday, there was this amazing bakery at Yonge and Bayview, or York Mills and Bayview, and we'd get this like these croissants, but like they were like just like some were like swirled with croissants with like almond and like a delicious thing in the middle. Like they're just so good, these croissants. And like I just remember like always going to get them on a Saturday, and it was just like
Mhm.
such a treat to try these croissants, and I love them. And it's just something that I remember doing. And I just can't imagine not having that memory. It's just something that I'm like, oh, I want to have something that my kids and I
Yeah.
do that they'll remember forever. And so the fact that they don't have this moment, a collective moment of them all enjoying ice cream, I thought it was really surprising, but it was really touching for me to see how much she enjoyed it, and then also how much she's missed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought it was really nice that she actually enjoyed the experience.
When she said it's so good, I was
Yeah.
like, look how much she's been depriving herself of
Yeah.
just like simple joys.
Yeah.
And I felt for her, and I
Did
was
you
really
did you
happy that she's doing
yeah.
this.
Did you catch what flavor she got? I didn't.
She got birthday cake, I think,
Oh, okay.
or some sort of cake was in it, pieces of
Okay.
cake. So good. So I was really happy that that happened. To go along with the storyline that you're not interested in, next we see Tonia going for a workout. And Melissa is really happy that she seems to be wanting to put some more pressure on her foot that had the injury. She's doing jumps on one foot. Antonio does say that she wants to get back into tumbling again. She really loves tumbling. And so Melissa really is happy now that
Mhm.
whatever she was going through shifted. I did like seeing the moment where she was sharing with her daughter her experience in high school, and her daughter was like, "What, you thought I was depressed?" I think she
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
a little bit depressed. I do think she
I think so
was.
too. Yeah, I
Um,
think so too.
but I'm happy that she's come to the other side and she does want to get back into tumbling. So
Yeah.
whether it was all a feigned storyline or not, I'm happy that
Yeah.
she's on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So Jackie's at the therapist's office and recounting the story about, or the going to the ice cream shop with her kids. And she also, her relationship with her husband, she's worried about her husband not really being attracted to her if she were to gain any more weight. But she does say, like, the therapist says that like he has been really supportive, and like she wants to make sure that their marriage is going to be able to sustain any changes. And Jackie does say that that Evan says that he notices everything, and the therapist is like, because he loves you, and he's noticing because he
Pays
wants you to
attention.
be
Yeah.
well. Mhm. So she talks about the ice cream challenge and how great it was. She was feeling guilty about the eating of the ice cream, and was trying to, wanted to compensate for, like, by not eating something else, but I think she did not. But she did have a lot of guilt around that,
Yeah.
which is interesting. And she also talks about she lost weight when which loses weight when she was stressed. So last year when she was fighting with Teresa, she lost a few pounds, which is, on her small frame, it's a lot.
A
Of
lot. Yeah.
3 pounds is a lot for her, I would say. So they do decide to increase her food intake by having her do something additional at every meal. So she got really excited when she said, "And have a croissant at breakfast." And so,
Yeah.
like, I like seeing her eyes light up with the idea of, like, food is so fun. I mean, we both work in restaurants.
Yeah.
We All of our social events with our friends is usually centered around delicious food. And so I understand that people have different relationships with food, absolutely. But I'm so sad for her that she doesn't get to experience food and enjoy it as much as I do. And so I'm happy that she's at least taking this initiative
Yeah.
to bringing a little bit more joy out of food into her life.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely happy for her. So Jackie talks to Evan after her therapy session, but they're talking about the party. She mentions, like, "This is my Luke with her dress," and he's like, "What's Luke? Like Luke Skywalker?" I'm like, Jackie trying to be hip,
Yeah.
hilarious. And mentions the food challenge with her, and he talks about goulash. I've never specifically had Hungarian food. I don't think. Have you?
No, I don't think
Do we
so.
have an Hungarian restaurant here in Toronto?
I'm sure we have plenty. Yeah.
I'm thinking of like a famous one, or one that that our owner guy.
Well, There's
opened?
There's a couple that I know of. There's one in Kensington, or there used to be. I don't know if it's still there, but it's like Hungarian and Thai food. It's literally called Hungary Thai, like Hungary Thai, not hungry, but like Hungary, like the country, at Thai. And there's another one on Bloor that's more like a deli or cafe.
Oh, I know which one it's.
I
I
don't
know
know what
which
it's
one that
called, but it's
is.
in the annex. Yeah.
I know that one actually. I've
And
never
I don't
eaten
know if that
there.
one's still there. They're both like
I
very old.
I believe it is still there, actually, the one on Bloor, because I know somebody that like it's a treat for them to go to that restaurant, because it's
Okay.
very home style, like it's very
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. I mean, I like trying new cuisines. I definitely love in Montreal. There was like a Polish restaurant that we used to go to, and like it was like super delish. Um, I love new cuisines, so I'm hungry
Yeah.
maybe this year, this summer. Give it a go. So Jen and Bill are talking and seeing whether or not Bill is going to come to the party. This is Marge's mom's birthday party. And he said he's going to try for Jen. And he does say that he wants to do it for his wife. And I was happy about that.
Yeah.
Happy that Bill decided
Yeah.
to like not be grumpy Bill and be like, I'm not doing that, and decide to like since
Show up.
since Jen was putting the effort, he's going to show up for his wife. So
Yeah.
good job, Billy. So you talked about it already just a little bit, but they talk about the making memories in the house. Gia is still sad that they're leaving. I love seeing the scene of them running into the room when they were kids. I think it was in
Mhm.
2009. They were just so cute.
Yeah.
So Teresa's crying, and I don't remember which daughter was crying with her. But I thought it was a sweet moment, and I do understand a little bit about, the house that you grew up in. Um, like I remember like my grandmother's house when they sold that house. I was like, oh my god, like I spent so many years at this house. Like I miss that house. And then even my favorite house that I had all through like high school, like we left that house and I was like, oh my god, I love this house, I don't want to move from this house. And then my mom's been at this current house for the last 15 years. I don't love this house as much as I've loved the other ones, but like I could see it feeling sad and not going into that space that's so familiar, you know
Mhm.
especially if you grew up there throughout your
Yeah.
young years.
Yeah.
So I would be sad, a little bit sentimental. I love seeing Marge and her mom together, though, talking about the party, and also seeing photos of her grandparents and how they used to have a pig hunt and a smoking meat tradition. And so since her grandparents are no longer alive, that tradition doesn't really live along anymore. And so I would love to see bringing back tradition. I think that that's what I wish I had more of in my life, is like traditions. Like
Mhm.
there's certain things that like my mom will cook. So she cooks like ackee and saltfish and some other like Jamaican things. But I do wish that I had a little bit more tradition, because I think that it makes you feel part of your family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know much about Hungarian tradition, but I've never heard of the pig hunt and the smoking meat tradition. Have
Yeah.
you?
No, but
No?
it sounds like a tradition that a lot of cultures have, is like
True.
you go hunting and then you do something with the meat.
True. I was watching the challenge, I think it was last season, and I can't remember which country he's from. Is it it wasn't Hungary, but it was like it was an Eastern European country, and he talked about them doing like the pig hunt with his family. That was something that he did. So it definitely seems to be an Eastern European type tradition for sure.
Mhm.
So at the party, we have different tables. One is the Horny Hungarian table, which is seemingly all the men are going to be at. Bill and Jen show up. Bill orders a martini. I wish I knew what was in the martini because I might want to make that.
I think it was
Maybe.
a watermelon martini.
Okay, I could get down with it. I mean, watermelon doesn't necessarily translate that well. It's kind of watery to be honest, but like maybe it's good.
Well, I think it was just a martini with a slice of watermelon in it. Like I
Oh,
don't
so then
think,
that's definitely
yeah.
not good. It's like, I mean, it's okay. So Joe does confront Bill about being kicked out of his house, and Joe's like, "You hurt me, you hurt me," and Bill's like, "I was hurt too." And so I was impressed that they're both at least saying that they were hurt in a
Yeah, but
situation.
why is this coming up now? Like it was so many weeks ago. Like
Because Joe is annoying.
that's what I mean. It's like that's why when you were saying at the beginning, it's not the same fight. I'm like, really? Like that is the same fight, just extrapolated.
Yes, I agree that it's the same fight, but it was a little bit different, and it was resolved
Sure.
to a certain degree. So it wasn't just a yelling match about the same issues without having any resolved. I think that it seems different because the outcome was different. It seems like there was some sort of resolve or understanding. So
Okay, but
hopefully it's done.
Evan told Aiden that his wife was a bad person. We didn't see that. Like now they're friends again, but like did Evan apologize or like like there's something missing from that story.
I mean, Evan's a little bit of a wimp, I think, and so I don't know if that will get resolved. I do think that he's intimidated by Bill to a certain extent.
Which
So
wouldn't he then apologize? It seems that Bill is just let it go, which is shitty.
maybe they're saving that for next week so we can be annoyed that it's still not resolved. Bill does say, no, Frank does say though, like you were picking on his wife, and so like they kind of like made it like understood like why Bill didn't want to stand up for it, like for kick him out, or like the whole situation at boys' night. Like Joe's upset that he left boys' night. Like shut up, Joe. Like
Yeah.
you would have left boys' night too if like someone was saying
Yeah,
things about Melissa that you didn't care to have a physical altercation about.
absolutely.
Oh, so yes, Evan texted Bill and Bill didn't respond. Hi, Miss Joy, T Joy. Yes, and so Bill I don't think responded. So maybe they're
No,
saving that for another
I
time.
thought that Bill did respond.
Did he?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Oh, so then they're fine.
But that doesn't mean that Evan apologized, and if that's what happened, then why didn't they show that? Like why don't they show the screenshots?
You want to see the screenshots?
Well, I want to see the
I know.
apology. Yeah, I want to see how they've resolved it. Like has Bill just been like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You said a shitty thing about my wife, but it's fine." Like
Maybe they're saving that footage for another time.
sure, but I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I did thought it was funny that Bill wanted to write Bill's bitch on Joe's ass with a scalpel. And then we start having a little bit of a montage of Dolores suggesting that everybody goes together and has a fun trip. So Jackie suggests Nashville. Have you been to Nashville?
I have. I've been twice.
Twice. So you went
really
back because you enjoyed it.
I really enjoy Nashville, yeah.
Hold on. They did show Bill texted an emoji. Oh, an okay emoji? Oh, that's all I did?
Did they show Evan apologizing? What did they I didn't see that at all.
I was watching really quickly, so I was also getting ready when I was watching, so I might have missed that. Sorry, guys.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch that.
I'll go back and rewatch and see that again. Thank you, Miss
I
T
want to
Joy,
see
for
that.
having
Yes,
the
thank you.
facts. I want to see how much Joe doesn't care. I mean, sorry, Bill doesn't care.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed Nashville. What was it about Nashville that you liked?
Well, I love country music, and so there's that, but also Nashville is a really lively place with a lot of different things going on, including a really incredible food scene. So like I used to go to New York a lot to get away because obviously I have family there, but also because it was like familiar enough that I knew how to get, I always stay with the same cousin. I know how to get around. I know where I like to eat. I know where I like to shop. I know, I want to go to the MoMA, probably to go to the Brooklyn Museum, and I have two very good friends there. So it's almost like a trip that I take without having to do too much planning because I just show up and I know what train to get on and I know where to eat and I don't need to think about it too much. But Nashville is a really small city and it's really easy to get around. And it became really apparent to me like what neighborhoods I was drawn to and what neighborhoods I wasn't drawn to, and also how touristy I wanted my trip to be. Both times the first time I went on a date with I think I was on Tinder or something. And I went on a date with somebody from there who, like, she showed me around. And then the second time I actually went back because I met somebody on OkCupid. So I went back to like meet her in person. But I was already planning to go to Nashville. So those two things just kind of lined up. But I would love to go back just because I think it's a 1-hour flight. Flights used to be every day, and it's way cheaper than New York, but it's like just as much fun.
Nice. Thanks for the adjustment. I usually don't go to American cities for vacations just because like my dad's always lived there. So like, I've done the Florida, I've done California, and I've done Las Vegas a gazillion times. But like I do think that I would like to experience a lot of like I think I need to do like a 2-month cross America tour or something like that, where I get to see like a bunch of all the major American cities that I haven't experienced before.
Do you want to go to Atlanta?
I do want to go to Atlanta. I do. I've been watching Candy and the Gang, and I want to go to OLG. Let's go.
If you want to plan a trip.
Oh my god! With like Eleanor and Megan, imagine we went
that would
on,
be so
like,
good. That would actually be
Housewives
so
of Atlanta food tour. So just going to all the restaurants that they frequent at or own and stuff like that. That would be very fun.
That would actually be amazing.
I'm definitely down. 100%. Let's go.
Okay,
let's make it happen.
Okay.
We'll suggest it in our group chat after.
Okay.
Hey. All right. So, they start talking about Teresa and like they're mad at Teresa. I don't agree with the body shaming comment about Margaret's butt, not wearing her pants. They also bring up that Teresa's not going to want to go on this vacation without Louis. It kind of rolled her eyes. Like, why wouldn't you want to bring Louis? It's her fiance. Like, why are you surprised that she's going to want to bring her fiance on this trip that seems like it's a couple's trip? Like, anyways, it's just ridiculous. And the whole like Tracy's storyline about her not being mad at Tiki. And so Dolores explains that, like, you know what, like Teresa doesn't get mad at men. She forgives men before she forgives women. And that's just how she grew up. That's who she is. And I just accept Teresa for who she is sometimes. And like,
and also she knows that Tracy put Tiki up for it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
exactly. And Tiki is better with handling, Teresa than Tracy is. Like, Tiki's like, oh, you're not mad at me. Are you mad at me? You're not mad at me. Like, making people feel silly about being mad at somebody is a way to disarm them and make them like be like, no, I'm not mad at you anymore. But Tracy comes in a way that's like antagonistic. That's kind of annoying. Like, I still don't like you, Tracy. Like your husband was able to make me feel okay with him, but you not so much. So she should take some lessons on how to get along with people from her husband.
Yeah.
So, of course, Jackie is overwhelmed by the buffet. There's a lot of choices. Like, everybody's as overwhelmed at buffets. So don't worry, Jackie. Like, you're not the only one here. But I thought it was interesting that she was recognizing that Jennifer was eating and, like, had no care in the world about eating food. And that's how I am for the most part. Like, sometimes I'm conscious of what I'm eating, just like, especially if I've gained a little bit of weight or whatnot. But like, I just don't really know what it would be like to be kind of terrified about eating and so, caged by your fear of food. And so it's really, I'm sure that a lot of people are going to relate to what Jackie's going through. And so, as I've mentioned before, I'm happy that she's sharing her feelings, but it's so wild to me because I just don't have that kind of relationship with food.
Yeah, me too. I completely agree with you. I actually, what I'm actually really looking forward to? I don't know if this is even still a thing, but I can't wait to go back to Mandarin. Do you want to join me?
Is there a Mandarin downtown?
Yonge and Eglinton, I think.
Oh, is it still open?
I don't know.
I could do a Mandarin. Okay, it's not all you can eat sometimes, but me and my best friend Anna we want to go to Red Lobster and do like one of their like all
Oh,
you can eat crab or whatever, one of those things where like it's like gluttonous amounts of seafood for like $29.99.
I don't know if
Like
it's $29.99 anymore, but
50 bucks even is fine.
yeah,
Like
totally. Yeah.
I would totally
I
been
don't
wanting to do Red
love
Lobster.
I don't love Red Lobster. I want to like it more than I do.
I mean, I literally haven't had it in probably 25 years, and so it's always the
Okay.
idea of going to Red
Yeah.
Lobster, and, like,
Yeah.
every time I go to Loblaws, there's, like, the bread rolls recipe, and I'm like, "Oh, those rolls are pretty good. They actually are good." I just wanna have the lobster with the butter sauce that has, like, the flame underneath and, like, just, like, dipping like, I want that
Yeah. I'd
without
rather
paying, like,
go to the
$100 at a, like, a nice restaurant.
right. Well, I mean, I was just gonna say I wanna go to the Keg, but I think you'd pay more at the Keg than Red Lobster.
I don't eat meat, so the Keg I
Yeah.
used to go to the Keg all the time. Me and my oldest best friend, Nicole, we used to go to the Keg Mansion, like,
Oh, yeah.
before work. So we worked at 9:30, so we'd go to the Keg Mansion at, like, 8 every Friday or most
Nice.
Fridays. So I just get the Oscar sirloin and the mushrooms Neptune. So they do have some good stuff there. But I've never gone there without really eating meat. I don't know
Yeah,
about
let me
their salmon plate, if that's good.
they have a seafood selection, a seafood menu.
I could check out the Keg, but I think I'd be more excited by the gluttonous amount of seafood at Red Lobster.
Yeah,
It's
I
just more
agree.
it's
I
more
agree.
fun.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about
Like
that, sorry.
it's okay. I mean, I could go to the Keg as well. But I usually would choose another restaurant than the Keg.
I've never been to the Keg, so I just want
Ever?
never, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not that great. Don't worry.
No, but
Like
I just wanna go and experience it.
okay, so because when I worked at Patria, the Keg was sometimes the only place that was opened after work. So we'd
Yeah.
always go to the Keg at Brant
Same
and
West? Yeah.
King. And so like it's not that great. But like maybe if we're going for a steak, but I wasn't going for the steak.
Yeah,
So
that's yeah.
Red Lobster has the best it's the cheddar biscuits that I'm talking about,
The
but the
food is
food is
bad.
bland.
But I
Well, I
agree,
just
the food
garlic sauce, garlic butter sauce on everything. Isn't that enough?
yeah, I'm kind
Well, I wish then
of
they
both
have like
ends.
a seafood boil place. I think it's Captain Boyle. I wish that
Yeah,
that was like all you can eat. You know,
yeah,
like pay like 75 bucks, all you can eat seafood boil. Like that restaurant's food definitely will be flavorful. Um, they should just make one of those. Hmm.
I mean, yes, but also seafood is, like, so contentious right now, like, should we be eating all you can eat seafood?
Okay, fair, fair, fine. I
Sorry.
mean, I don't eat meat. Like, is that enough?
No, I know. But the oceans are really having a hard time.
I understand. I agree. I mean, I was vegan for a long time. I only recently started eating fish as well.
Mhm.
And I've always loved fish, so but fine. We don't want all you can eat seafood. Just let the air out of my balloon there.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's a fair something to recognize. Absolutely. So the last part of this episode, I love seeing Mark Sr. being welcomed as if it was like her wedding.
Yeah, it
Coming
was
in,
good.
Margaret made a really nice toast talking about where her mom came from, how she's the best mom, you know, being a single mother, all the things that she learned from her. I thought it was a really nice speech. And I love seeing Marge Sr. on that dance floor.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
It was
And
great.
how they're wearing matching outfits. I mean, she looks amazing too for 75. Like
Absolutely.
she's in great shape. Like how old was Elsa when she died?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Probably older, but still like yeah, Marge Senior is looks amazing and also moves like she's younger. Yes.
I want a seafood boil. I do. I'm like, Yes, I definitely love like seeing this side of the family, Marge and with her mom, and it was also really touching to Jennifer. So Jennifer was having a relatable moment with Marge for the fact that, like, you know, Marge is really a family person. Jennifer really never saw Marge as somebody that had like a big open heart and cared so much about family. And so I loved seeing the humanity in Marge, and then that Jen was able to see this in her. And so I hope that was a sign that their issue is officially put to rest and there can move on. So that was the end of the episode. They sang happy birthday, and I did fast forward that. I was like, I don't need to hear them sing happy birthday. Anything else from this episode that you'd like to talk about?
No, I thought it was a pleasant episode.
I think it had the party. I loved the party scene.
Yeah, the party was good.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the glitz. I want to see the dancing. Like, I want to see the outfits. At least in every episode, something a little bit extravagant is fun for me to watch in these shows. So I enjoyed this episode.
Sorry.
I think Jackie did, from what I remember. I liked her. It was kind of the cutouts. I liked that kind of dusty rose color that it was.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice dress. I don't remember everybody's though. Oh, Tracy's I probably liked too. I don't remember exactly what the cut of it was, but I love anything shiny and sparkly. So it's kind of like silver metallic.
Yeah.
So I like that for sure, the material anyways.
Yeah.
How about you?
I also really liked Jackie's, but I also really liked Melissa's.
I don't remember what Melissa was wearing, but I was watching it rushed.
It was like a neon yellow, like a short wrap dress.
Oh, cute. So actually, maybe we'll do that for the rest of the season. If there's any events, we'll do a little rate, do a little favorite outfit. Best dressed. Yes.
Okay.
Best dress.
Good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here with me today, talking about the Housewives of Jersey. I know we're going to have a conversation in the next couple of days or so to see what we want to do with all the new franchises that are starting up, what we want to cover, if we want to cover multiples of them at a time or not. So if you could just let us know which ones you really like the most. So which franchise you're most excited to see and would like to see coverage on. So I guess Atlanta's coming out soon.
It is? I didn't know that.
Isn't it May?
Did I know that? Okay, maybe
Isn't
I did know
coming
that.
in May? I could be wrong.
Well, I'm losing track because I know about Lagos, I know about Dubai, and I know about Beverly Hills.
I think in Atlanta.
Okay. All right.
I don't know all the dates though. And so we need to find out when the dates are, when they air, and whether or not it would be feasible to cover all, none, many.
Any of them. Yeah.
Exactly. So let us know which ones you're most excited about. Maybe I'll put a poll up in the community so you guys can have your pick on what your favorite is, and we can see what we might lean towards covering.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So other than that, do you have anything that you want to plug?
No, but I just want to say that I just started watching Potomac. So Potomac, how do you pronounce it?
Potomac, yeah.
Potomac.
Mm-hmm. Like from the beginning?
Yes. Wow.
You're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. They definitely have some big characters on that season.
Yeah.
Atlanta is May 1st. Yes.
May 1st.
So, okay. I definitely I'm going to be watching all of them. I'm wondering which ones to cover. It could be nice to cover Atlanta because like Candy and the gang is on. So that could be a little bit more like cover both of them a little bit, like not formally Candy and the gang, but anyways. We will let you know what is going down. And thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for being in the chat and sharing in on this conversation. Please subscribe. Please subscribe and like this video and leave in the chat which series you would like us to cover that's coming up. That's everything. We'll see you next week. This is going to be our regular time slot. Now it'll be Wednesdays at noon to cover the rest of the season of New Jersey. And we'll let you know if anything changes. Ciao, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.